And the beautiful thing about podcasting is you don't have to go in order. So you're talking about Super Bowl and Super Bowl headlines. I got some Super Bowl headlines here. Obviously, the biggest headline of the week is Tyreek Hill racing Scotty Miller at halftime. I don't think there's anything more important Super Bowl week than that. Who y'all betting on to win that race?
I mean, they call the man Cheetah for a reason. The only question in my mind is how many yards ahead is he going to be whenever he finishes?
Yep, that's the real bet.
I mean, little Scotty Miller runs 4.39.
And that's respectable. That's faster than my old ass could run, but he's not beating Tyreek Hill.
No.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But one thing that's been bothering me, and we talked about it a little bit and before we went live, is that I'm seeing all of these Patriots fans just slowly become Tom Brady fans. Forever it was the Patriot way, Belichick, Brady. We do things the right way. And as your season started to crater, it was like, oh no, I'm a Brady fan. You know, Belichick's the reason why we're not where we're supposed to be because he's been a terrible GM. And I'm like, nah, man, you can't do that. You can't go 20 years, get 6 championships, celebrating a team. For one, it's football. We still support teams, not players like we do in basketball. Then all of a sudden, you're going to hop on the Brady bandwagon because I promise you, if Brady sucked and the Pats were good, it would be, yeah, Bill got it right. Brady was done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I made the point a few weeks ago that it's very much akin to basketball, the way that people have been acting, specifically LeBron James. You know, you remember when LeBron James got drafted to Cleveland, he had all of those Cleveland fans that came out of the woodworks that all of a sudden they were huge Cleveland fans. And then he had the big decision where he went to Miami and they formed the big three down there. And then all of a sudden you saw people ripping off the Cavs jerseys and buying that brand new Heat jersey. Then a few years later, they had to go and, buy that new Cavs jersey because he went back to Cleveland. And now you're out in California. You've seen it. They're all rocking LA jerseys now because they're LeBron James fans. Same thing with Tom Brady. He left, and the people that weren't true fans of the team, they were just fans of winning. They decided they were just going to follow Tom.
Now, the lowly Falcons fan, it just makes me sick. I mean, it's bad enough you stepped on my heart in the Super Bowl. Now you got to come to my division and take it over and possibly win number 7. Like, Tom Brady, what did Matt Ryan do to you? Is it personal?
These colors don't run, though.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so with those colors, we're hearing all this Brady versus Belichick talk. Who won the divorce? Well, for one, you don't know who won the divorce 1 year later, in my opinion. You got to see how the bounce back goes. Just because Brady bounced back quicker than Bill, it doesn't mean that Bill's not going to bounce back better than Brady. So I'm still Team Belichick over here. Do your job and all of that stuff, just rooting against Tom Brady. But on a more objective note, I just think it's too early. And I think it's, again, talking about these networks coming up with BS topics. This is just another one of those BS topics that they're using just to get their hot takes out there. But it's honestly too soon to say who won the divorce, because with the offseason that we had, with the opt-outs, who really expected the Patriots to be a contending team this year?
Nobody. I would have told you before the season started, this is going to be the Buffalo Bills year. The Buffalo Bills are going to win the AFC East. I was preaching that all off season. I was the one that was saying Tom Brady needs to leave New England because there's no way that they should be paying this man $25 million to put up mediocre stats. The only reason that his stats are so inflated this year is because look at the team that he went to. They built a juggernaut down there with Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown tagging along, Gronk coming out of retirement, signing Leonard Fournette whenever the Jags inexplicably just cut him. Ronald Jones coming into his own this season. They've got a squad. Cameron Brate. The list goes on and on and on. The Brady Bucks are for real, but he left a team that was in shambles. And you mentioned it with the opt-outs. There were 8 players from the New England Patriots that opted out this year, more than any other team in the National Football League. They were destined to be mediocre from the get. They had rookies filling in leadership roles. They had Cam Newton with all of his question marks coming in there, trying to learn a new system, trying to adapt a system to his style. It was just not going to work from the very beginning. And like you said, you can't really judge this divorce off of one season.
Yeah, and Danny Amendola came out yesterday, Monday, on First Things First, and he talked about the Patriot Way and talked about how, you look up the Patriot Way, you see Tom Brady's picture in the dictionary. I'm paraphrasing him. And a couple weeks ago, I think on the first episode I did of the NFL Hour, I talked about the Patriot Way being dead because there is no Patriot Way without Bill and Tom together. And, I felt a little good to hear Danny Amendola say that. But it kind of sounds like Danny Amendola is the bitter ex.
Yeah, my question for Danny Amendola is, how does Tom Brady's dick taste? Because that's all I heard from that interview. Because Tom Brady made this man's career. If it wasn't for those 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was that he was in New England, he would be out of the league by now. When he was playing in St. Louis, he was trash. He became something as a slot receiver for Tom Brady. Since he left, he played for Miami and Detroit. What's he done?
Right.
I'll wait. Nothing.
Right. And I think that's the effect that Tom has. Tom, for most of his career, has played with guys you'd never heard of. The biggest guy that we know that he's played with is God damn, I can't think of his name now.
Moss?
Yeah, Randy Moss. And obviously he's made a name for Julian Edelman, but those guys aren't huge superstars. The players that Tom Brady played with for the past 2-3 years, I wouldn't necessarily call superstars. He makes players better. And I guess if
N'Keal Harry's going to be a star?
Who?
N'Keal Harry?
I don't think so. I think he's just I don't know if he'll be in the league here pretty soon because he's just not doing much.
He's not doing anything.
Right. So.
Yeah, man. I get being a Brady fan. I get supporting your guy. But at some point, you got to have some dignity and some self-respect. And like the whole comment that Amendola said, and again, I agree to a certain extent, but he's like, oh, yeah, well, the coaches, they were there, spend all their time putting us in the right positions, but they don't throw the ball. Well, do you know how many coaches don't put their players in the right positions? Like, look at Detroit where you went. They're a godforsaken franchise. Like, God has not looked at them since I don't know, ever. Like they get a sprinkling of talent and it goes to waste. You ruined two of the greatest players at their positions careers with Barry Sanders and Megatron. Like, Barry played 10 years, Megatron played 9 years. It's like, nah, bro, I just don't want to play the game anymore because I'm in Detroit.
Yep, it's a meat grinder.
Amendola has scored 2 touchdowns since he left